absolutely beautiful in the autumn light. Just the colours of the bracken and the gorse in the hedgerows is really beautiful. The most incredible permission. I'm in the middle of Dartmoor, ancient landscape. It's covered in huge granite rocks. I'm sat next to one now. And I'm sitting next to a river and a waterfall. And quite honestly, it feels a bit like Lord of the Rings. This is the old county stone. Beautiful, isn't it? It's my understanding that these walls were built by Napoleonic prisoners of war who were based at the nearby prison on the moor. Huge boulders of granite. First find of the day is this incredibly old looking button or rivet, I'm not sure. That's a very beautiful colour. Quite unusually green. I don't know what it is. I've never been anywhere like this before, where the ground is completely uncontaminated by iron. Every time I hear a signal, it's something. The most magical place. It feels like there's history all around me here. I have just been given the most fantastic guided tour by the landowner. It's bordered by a river on one side. It's got history going back, I mean, you can tell thousands of years just looking around. I mean, look at these rocks. She's shown me what she calls a prehistoric motorway, which is an ancient drover's path through the moor to the local market town. She's shown me things that she believes are ancient settlements, a ford crossing the river. You can imagine the perfect detecting spot. I think I'm on it. I've got 9 acres here to explore and I'm free to come and go. I can hear the river below me in the valley. I've just seen the most amazing waterfall and I'm just surrounded by nature everywhere. I'm pretty happy with my crusty old coin. That shows people have been here, and I'm excited to see what I'm going to find today. Another beautiful silvery button. So stunning. Could there be a more beautiful finds table on which to lay my treasure? I mean, this particular sort of enclosure of rocks feels almost prehistoric. I mean, it doesn't feel like even the kind of place where metalwork would have even been invented yet. But I have found a few things. Obviously, people from all the centuries will have used old enclosures to stay in. So I have found interesting things. I found buttons, I found a button, a stud and a coin, all of which I think are probably several hundred years old. But let's see what else we can find. I'm going to head down to the ford next. Another absolutely tiny target. The dais too is really picking up these little tiny targets. There's another little button. I think this ground is pretty challenging because I was reading on the local information board that the nearby hill is made of something called ironstone, and it often gets struck by lightning. It's highly mineralised, and so I think for my deist to be picking out tiny little targets like that is pretty incredible. Wow. That's beautiful, isn't it? Another fragment of a button. I'm getting closer and closer to the ford and the old track, so I'm hoping to find lots more evidence of people. A coin! A coin! I think I can see a bust on there. Definitely a bust. Well, they say lichen is the best test of air quality. I reckon the air must be pretty good here. I've just found a coin which says Napoleon III on it. I didn't recognise it. I thought this doesn't look like a... It's got a kind of edge all around it. There it says Napoleon III there. Just when you think you've got a clue, it turns out not to be what you thought. This is my Napoleon III coin, which I found yesterday, and I thought, brilliant, it all ties in with the story of the soldiers, prisoners of war that had been based up at Dartmoor prison. I started looking into this in more detail, and I've realised that the dates just don't marry up. This coin is dated 1857, and the prisoners of war and the end of the Napoleonic Wars was around 1815, 1816, so this coin is 40 years too late to be part of that whole story. However, as with all these things, it leads you on a journey researching things that you didn't know about before. During the Napoleonic Wars, the prison on Dartmoor was built in 1806 and it housed 6,000 prisoners. It's still an active prison today, but it has only 600 prisoners in it now. So you can imagine it would have been hugely overcrowded. It's quite well known for being a place that treated people pretty badly, and I know that there were a lot of men that died in that prison. And just thinking about how horrible it must have been to work up in that very exposed and cold place. They would have been put to work through the winter, probably not very well clothed, certainly malnourished, and to handle those blocks. I mean, these blocks of granite are so heavy, impossible to lift, and they would have been working obviously in very harsh conditions. Some quite interesting things here, definitely signs of people moving through the land. And I'm going to go back next week and have a second crack at it and see if we can find more evidence of who lived there or moved through that landscape, and see what they've left scattered about for me to find.